I jolt upright and immediately regret it, because the moment I sit up a sharp pain tears through my chest and folds me forward coughing. A voice beside me, raspy from disuse, tells me I'm finally awake, and when I turn I find a square-faced man in his late 30s on a stool. His face instantly familiar even though I've never actually laid eyes on him before. "Captain Chin," I blurt, and only then do I take in the white walls and the bed and realize I'm in a hospital. He corrects me with a faint smile, tells me to just call him uncle, and says my chest was caved in by an Iron-Fur Boar, my internal organs ruptured, that I'm lucky to have pulled through. I catch myself, swap the address to Uncle Song, and ask how long I've been out. 3 days, he says. I was rushed in and resuscitated, and the doctors now say that as long as I woke up my life is no longer in danger. His expression turns stern. He tells me my swordsmanship drills are fine, but the moment I saw real combat I froze like a fool and let a boar ram straight through me, and he doesn't know how he'd face my father if something worse had happened. He stands, says he's going to fetch a doctor, and adds before he leaves that while I recover I should think seriously about whether the martial path really suits me, whether an ordinary peaceful life might not be better. I don't answer. I only watch his back until the door shuts, and then I let out a long breath and sink back into the pillow, because I am not the Chen Yuan he raised. I was up late at home reading a novel in my own world, and between one blink and the next I opened my eyes into a charging boar. The consciousness that used to live in this body vanished at the exact moment I arrived, leaving me with all his memories but none of his feelings. Uncle Xiong is a stranger to me in everything but recall. The body is a 19-year-old intermediate warrior of roughly 2,000 kilograms, just 3 months past awakening. And the world, as the electronic clock on the wall confirms with its September 13, 2077, is the swallowed star world, R-Virus, monsters, martial artists, devouring beast, Hong, thunder god, Luo Feng. I'm a fan from the novel, and I've arrived far too late. The genius battle is years behind us. Luo Feng has already risen and is likely inside Primordial Chaos City by now. No thigh left to cling to. My predecessor was unlucky too. An intermediate warrior against an elementary beast soldier, under a warlord's supervision, should have been a clean stomp, but I transmigrated in at the exact second he moved to finish the boar. I remember a single instinctive sword thrust before everything went dark. Either I killed it or the team did. Either way, I fused so cleanly with the memories that even the body's reflexes obey me. It feels less like transmigration than like remembering a past life. I run through what I know of the original social web. His mother died early, his father Chen Ji raised him alone, and when he was 13, Chen Ji covered the team's retreat during a small beast hide in the wilderness area and died, entrusting the boy to Qin Zan, now Song Jun, before he fell. Song Jun kept that promise to the letter. When the original insisted on staying alone in the family villa, Song Jun moved his entire family next door and watched over him for 6 years. They're close. I just need to play at the original's withdrawn personality. Speak less, warm gradually, and no one will see through me. That leaves the harder question: settle and live quietly, or push for the stars. I'd choose the stars in a heartbeat, but my aptitude is mediocre. Thanks to Luo Feng bringing purple light dew back from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, any advanced dojo student can now buy their way to warrior level, and my predecessor did exactly that. So 19-year-old warrior sounds impressive, but really I'm an average advanced student aptitude dressed up by dew. A month of 5 hearts towards the sky to sense cosmic energy, first absorption for only 400 kilograms, 2 more months of grinding to crawl past 2,000. At this rate, I won't cross the planetary level before old age catches me, and below planetary the lifespan cap is at best 1 or 2 centuries. Break through, and I live 1,000 years. That alone is reason enough to push. And in the universe's other nations, anyone below planetary has no human rights and can be taken as a slave. Earth only grants off-world travel to planetary-level Earthalites. To break the deadlock, I need a cheat. As if on cue, a soft beep chimes inside my skull, and my head snaps around looking for the source before I realize it came from within. I call out system in my heart, and get another beep and answer. I ransack every tropey word I can think of. Panel, open, expand, mission, level up, and a translucent light screen unfurls in front of my eyes. The door opens before I can study it. Songjun has returned with the attending physician, and I flinch the panel shut, cooperating with the examination as the doctor tells us that my organs need at least 3 months of light diet and no strenuous exercise. That observation hospital is safer, but discharge is possible if we accept the risk. Songjun chooses to stay. After the doctor leaves, he tells me to rest while he handles fees and brings lunch from the cafeteria. I thank him, and as soon as the door shuts, the room falls quiet enough for me to call the panel back up. It's plain, almost modest. Name, age, strength, 2,010 kilograms. Second stage apprentice. Secret techniques, 5 hearts towards the sky, D, and spiritual windsword technique, guiding technique. Force exertion, 0.9, current optimizable items set to secret technique, and 3 points of something called energy. After a bit of poking, I learned the panel is only a readout, not a lock. My force level visibly drifts between 0.8 and 0.9 as my injured body shifts, and the panel neither anchors stats nor influences reality. But the display content is customizable. I rename energy to slaughter points after realizing it's earned from kills, and the word on the panel obediently changes. I reimagine the whole thing with more detail, and it obliges. Hibernation data aside, the 5 hearts line now reads Cultivation type, D, proficient 63.79%. Spiritual wind reads Combat type, C, overall beginner 37.32% with 3 sub-percentages for sword, movement, guiding, force level 0.89, slaughter points 3. Then I turn to the optimization line. I select 5 hearts towards the sky, specify improved cosmic energy absorption efficiency and cell absorption limit, and the panel responds with an estimated 200-point cost. I only have 3. On a hunch I try again, this time telling the system to discard universality and optimize for me alone. The cost drops to 2. Of course, a technique written for everyone has to be broadly compatible, which costs energy. Rewriting it specifically to fit my body cuts that cost to 100th. I confirm immediately. 3-hour timer. Songjun brings lunch during it, and leaves again. I doze through the remainder, and when the countdown ends, the panel announces that 5 hearts towards the sky has been optimized into hibernation method, crystal meditation, and invites me to expand the details. I read them, and my pupils tighten. The technique has me visualize an impurity-clouded crystal and clear it breath by breath until my mind becomes as limpid as glass, at which point I slip into deep sleep that greatly boosts physical recovery, slowly strengthens the body, and improves both cosmic energy absorption efficiency and cell absorption limit. Deep sleep, because 5 hearts towards the sky works by calming the mind into a still lake, and deep sleep is the cleanest way in. This isn't a hibernation method at all. This is the crystal meditation method from Star River Emperor. If the system can optimize even across novels, the ceiling is terrifying. I tested immediately. Dragonless Heart technique, and every aptitude buffing fantasy technique I can think of all return. Unable to optimize. Only when I drop down to Wuxia, trying to optimize 5 hearts into an aptitude improver using Tendon's Transformation Classic as a template, does the answer change. Incorrect carrier, insufficient data. Not impossible. Just needing a correct carrier secret technique and more source material. My predecessor's memories tell me a number of bone-forging manuals exist in this world, all with puffed-up claims and pitiful returns, but a carrier is all I need, and the insufficient data can be filled by reading real-world accounts of Tendon's transformation and marrow cleansing, since Earth's history before the RR virus matches my prior worlds. Once I'm discharged and behind a computer, both problems solve themselves. No rush. I close my eyes on the hibernation method's 7,000-word instructions, go through the postures and breathing exactly as described, and in half an hour I sink into an infant's sleep. An hour later I wake, startled, full of energy, internal pain faded. The panel shows hibernation method crystal meditation at B grade, beginner 1.1%, and my strength has jumped from 2010 to 2021. Over 10 kilos from a single hour. My predecessor used to gain 10 kilos a day, and I absorbed for a full hour without saturating, something he needed guiding technique to match. I run another round, 2 hours before saturation, 20 more kilos, growth rate unchanged. 3 hours of deep sleep absorption a day, 30 kilos a day, triple his pace without even touching guiding technique. And the hibernation method's compatibility feels perfect, because that's exactly what I ordered. Universality discarded, carved for this body alone. When the method advances stages, I'll be able to enter deep sleep anywhere, even while moving, which means guiding technique during absorption and another dramatic jump. The doctor told me to rest. All I have to do is eat and meditate. I settle in and grind. A week later, the panel reads, Strength 2,264.58, Hibernation Method 34.85%, Spiritual Wind 35.6, Force 0.97, Injuries clean. And today I'm leaving. I crawl through the secret manual logic the whole ride inside my head. Luo Feng's description of cultivating 5 hearts hinges on a mind like still water. Deep sleep gets there faster than any posture. The hibernation method's crystal visualization is just a specialized route to the same place, and because the system carved it for me, the fit is frictionless. Whether the next tier, aptitude optimization, will work remains to be seen, but incorrect carrier, insufficient data is a lot more hopeful than unable to optimize. I spend the last hospital morning testing the panel's customization, renaming display units, poking at what the optimizable items line will and won't accept, asking it about itself. The panel answers every question honestly. It cannot see the future, it only mirrors present state. That's fine. What it can do is already enough to rewrite my life. On the 10th day I check out before Songjun can even rent a nearby apartment, grab the first train ticket back to Jinling City, and we're moving before he's fully awake. On the train he keeps eyeing me, and finally can't help asking whether I'm really fine, whether I'm discharged too fast. I reassure him that the doctors cleared me. Lying any longer would only rust my martial arts. His face turns serious and he asks whether I really still intend to walk the path. Of course I tell him. Not just warrior. war general, god of war, and passed it into the vastness of the universe. He doesn't expect such a big ambition from me, doesn't want to crush a junior's will, and only nods and warns me to stay grounded rather than overreach. I smile, thank him, and he sinks into a feigned nap while I watch farmland give way to towers outside the window. Jinling City, one of Jiangnan-Bay City's 8 satellite cities, has been home to this body since childhood. Jinghu community sits at its center. Armed guards at the gate, taxis stopped at the fence. Songjun pays the fare, we enter, and at the fork he heads to his villa, while I continue deeper to building 136, an 800 square meter detached villa my father Jingyi left behind. The original was used to this. I am not. Shaking off the strangeness, I promise myself a whole planet someday and step inside, shower, change into loose loungewear, and head for the second floor audiovisual room. I log into Limit Home through the wall-sized holographic console. My personal page shows warrior level beginner, 0 contribution points, and a currency balance of 935,400 China yuan. Not much. The villa is half gifted and unsellable. I can't afford a real secret manual or a good blade. But that's not what I came here for. I search aptitude improvement. A dozen odd manuals come up. Quenching essence stake, 36 forms of bone forging, blood strengthening technique, tiger leopard thunder roar breathing method. All cheap, the priciest only 13,000. The whole lot 87,000. I buy them all and flip through in half an hour just to feed the system data. I don't need to understand any of them. The system only needs the data. Then I pull up historical records on tendons transformation and marrow cleansing. Present, detailed, and free. I open the panel. Optimize 36 forms of bone forging. Direction. Improve aptitude. Shorten cultivation time. Template tendons transformation classic and marrow cleansing classic. Discard universality. Estimated cost, 1 slaughter point. I have 3. I confirm. E-grade manuals cost 1, D-grade cost 2, C will probably cost 4, following the doubling pattern. Time needed, 1 hour. When the timer ends, the panel announces that 36 forms of bone forging has been optimized into tendons transforming and marrow washing scripture. A C-grade cultivation secret technique capable of changing bone structure and cleansing marrow, which improves physical aptitude and cosmic energy absorption, improves comprehension for combat techniques, and raises brain domain breadth by 1 to 3 depending on proficiency. Brain domain breadth. Aside from bloodline, which for Earthlings is universally low tier, so a level playing field, it's the most direct measure of cultivation aptitude. Every point separates you from millions of people. I ask the panel to display mine. 15. Not high in cosmic terms, average on Earth, better than I'd feared. And tendons transforming and marrow washing, fully cultivated, will push it to 18. Enough to beat 99.99% of Earth, and enough, crucially, to open the elite passage of the number 9 ancient civilization relic. The number 9 relic screens geniuses for Yunmo planet. Before Luo Feng, not even Hong or Thunder God could open the elite passage. Luo Feng passed through and came out with a basic Psyker-type secret technique and a Sky Shuttle manual. A martial-oriented entrant should come out with martial rewards. The only cosmic tier secret technique I can get without leaving Earth. The relic still requires War God strength, so that's a far-off plan. First, I cultivate. The manual is 5,000 characters of 3 interlocking methods, 12 yoga beyond yoga postures impossible for an untrained body, standing meditation breathing, and a medicinal bath that must be taken while standing in it neck deep. The herbs are common on Limit Home. I order a 10-day supply, a tall enough bathtub, and a round of takeout. 30,000 for the herbs, 500 for the tub, 48 for lunch, balanced down to 817,852. Same city delivery puts everything at the community gate within the hour. I haul it all in, pre-measure 10 daily portions, start today's decoction, and eat while the pot simmers. Then into the martial arts room on the second floor for the 12 postures. They are absurd, positions I'm not sure human bodies are supposed to fold into, each counting 30 seconds of gritted teeth and a cry I can't fully swallow. I hiss and grunt and persist until an hour later the alarm goes off. Whoever designed these, oh, that was me, through the system. Can't blame anyone else. I pour the boiled medicine into the tub with hot water, strip to shorts, lower myself in, and begin standing meditation breathing. Painless, in fact comfortable. Soothing. I feel myself drifting, chest barely moving, and the next time I open my eyes the water has gone cold and 3 hours have passed. Deep sleep, standing in a tub. I towel off, walk out, pull up the panel. Strength 2,265.63. Brain domain breath 15. Hibernation method 35.85%. Tendons transforming and marrow washing scripture a beginner 9.85%. Spiritual Wind Sword, 35.65. 40.97. Slaughter 0.0. That proficiency gain from a single day, I freeze halfway across the floor. The manual says bone reforging takes 100 days at standard pace. The shorter you compress it, the more perfect the transformation, with 30 days as the optimal ceiling. The manual doesn't say how to compress, but if every hour of deep sleep standing meditation dumps directly into proficiency, Then 11 days gets me from beginner to proficient, and 30-odd days maxes it. 1 month to a 3-point brain domain breath outright. I'll take 18 even without the bonus. And the remaining mystery, how Hong, decades ago, rated spiritual windsword only C despite its windborne intent, can wait. I received the tendons transforming and marrow washing content in full, through the panel, read it through, and start my cultivation schedule. Mornings, tendons transforming and marrow washing. Noon, the medicinal bath with standing meditation. Afternoons, spiritual windsword technique. Evenings, guiding technique to exhaustion, then deep sleep to recover through the night. That first full day of cultivation ends with another 52 kilograms of strength. Gains in every technique, spiritual wind up 3.4%. Tendons transforming and marrow washing up a full 9.81. The panel's visible progress alone is enough fuel. The sense of accomplishment outweighs the fatigue. I meditate instead of sleeping through the night, the hibernation method's proficiency ticking up alongside. In the courtyard, I practice spiritual windsword in the evening breeze, because the manual says wind aids the comprehension. The manual is my own family's, written by my grandfather Jin Hyondo during the Great Nirvana period, when he single-handedly slew monsters to shield the people. When the two great dojos were founded, he joined the Dojo of Limits and offered spiritual windsword up to the cause. Hong rated it C but wrote, unusually, a personal note praising its perception of wind in nature. If more people could grasp its agile essence, he said, the swordplay would have been A. The note pushed sales, buyers found they could not comprehend the wind essence no matter how they tried, and the book was branded a cheat. Grandfather fell in battle soon after, and spiritual windsword technique was presumed lost, until my father Jingyi rose as an initial beast general able to contend with high beast general monsters through it, renewing interest briefly before the same comprehension wall killed the craze again. Many still say the Chen family is holding back, but I know from my predecessors' memories that Jingyi taught exactly what was sold. The real secret is something else: aptitude, brain domain, bloodline gene, and without slaughter points I can't ask the system. For now I keep grinding spiritual windsword while tendons transforming and hibernation do the heavy lifting. When I have slaughter points to spare, I'll optimize it. Spiritual wind has 3 parts: swordplay called spirit wind, footwork called flowing wind, and guiding technique called gale. Guiding technique is violent on purpose. The stronger the bodily stimulation, the better the effect. After 2 hours of drills, my body is at last spent, and I only then notice how lightly I had been moving. The more I practice, the less fatigue I register. I run the guiding technique next, hissing through its stimulation, then lie down on the stone courtyard and drop into deep sleep. 2 hours later, I wake under a bright moon to find I fell into deep sleep without meditation. The guiding technique seems to have replaced the meditation phase, all 3 techniques beginning to intertwine. Good news. Each drags the others upward. Panel, strength 2,287.46. Hibernation 39.28. Tendons transforming and marrow washing 10.49. Spiritual wind 37.66 overall. Force 0.98. Slaughter 0.0. Over 50 kilos today, counting the morning deep sleep game. And the tendons transforming line rises faster as its own effect feeds back into my aptitude. If I reach perfection in a month, I might cross into advanced warrior. I decide, from now on, meditation replaces sleep, because meditation is more productive and levels the hibernation method as a bonus. On September 22, I followed the schedule down to the minute. Another 52 kilos. Every technique up. On the 23rd, the same. On the 24th morning, Songjin calls to remind me of a lunch invite I'd completely forgotten. I wash, dress, and head over, and find that Songjin isn't the only one waiting for me. The one who opens the door is a 16 or 17-year-old girl, high school age, delicate features, fair skin, youthful, with her brows pulled together like someone owes her money. Memories surface, Songjun's daughter, Songwi, and beneath the information comes a second buried wave, my predecessor's hidden affection. I read through the affection like I'd read a stranger's diary. Liked her, didn't dare approach. Tagged along with moon-eyed hope, and in his own head built her up higher and himself lower with every interaction. A simp, plainly. It at least explains why his address to Songjun carried that undercurrent of inferiority. I'm profoundly relieved his memories can't actually steer me. Left to him, I'd be fluttering around her right now, offering concern. I mentally resolve the opposite. Keep my distance. Avoid trouble. Songwi glares at me standing in the door, and, remembering some earlier instruction from her father, coldly snaps, "Why am I so late and why am I still outside?" The cold tone relieves me. I smile, apologize without explaining anything, walk past her, and sit at a table already laden with dishes. Songjun beams, calls me Yona, tells me to sit. Songwi trails after, expecting me to crowd her as the predecessor would. And when I simply ignore her, she finds the silence subtly offensive. She has, apparently, secretly taken pride in the predecessor's devotion. Songjun doesn't catch the atmosphere. He's been plotting for a while to pair us. I'm clean-cut solid aptitude, warrior strength, detached villa, and outside eyes the whole tall rich handsome package. And he's primed Shungwi beforehand. Songwei, for her part, has been quietly looking down on the predecessor, precisely because of the simping, and this marriage hint has set off real resistance. The dinner goes strangely. Songjun carries the conversation alone. I answer politely in between mouthfuls. Songwei sits silent and cold. Halfway through, Seongjun kicks her lightly under the table. She relaxes, smiles suddenly, and asks whether I heard I got hospitalized by an Iron-Fur Boar in the wilderness. Seongjun's face darkens. Seongwei presses on, asking how an intermediate warrior could lose to a low-level beast soldier. I say yes. I'm intermediate, smiling, self-deprecatingly adding that with no real combat experience I gave them an opening, and that she should learn from my mistake. She can't continue without losing face herself. She shifts tack, sulkily mentions becoming a senior student at the dojo of limits soon, the purple light dew tier, which at 17 would make her a proper warrior. I compliment her sincerely. 17-year-old warrior, barely any trouble to make god of war, and my complete lack of wounded reaction lights a short fuse. She presses harder, announces the dojo will sign her to a special training contract with 10 million in starting funds if she breaks through within a month. I say that's amazing. She stands halfway up to say something sharper. Her father's bowl clacks onto the table, cutting her off, and he tells her sternly to sit down. She bites her lip, pushes her bowl away, says she's full, and leaves. Songjun forces a smile and apologizes. I wave it off. The meal ends in his silence and my continued appreciation of the dishes. I thank him, decline escort 3 times, and he insists on seeing me to the door anyway. Walking back, I feel nothing about the whole exchange. Songwei's mockery about the boar, her boasting about the contract, an owl guarding a rotten mouse from a passing phoenix, threatening squawks and all. My eyes are on the stars in the sea. I'm not fighting an owl for a mouse. I decide to make up the wasted time tonight and add hours to the schedule. That night I drill 2 hours extra and go to bed, meaning meditation. Perhaps embarrassed over Songwei, Songjun doesn't contact me again for days. I'm happier that way, sinking deeper into routine, watching panel numbers climb. There's one small interruption. Songwei phones to tell me she has broken through to Advanced Warrior and is about to take Purple Light Dew and officially become a martial artist. I congratulate her flatly. She hangs up in a rage and doesn't call again. Meanwhile, a scene I piece together later. Songjun has just called his wilderness team to schedule a hunt, and Songwei has ambushed him to demand she join. He refuses. A beginner warrior who hasn't mastered 5 hearts towards the sky in the wilderness is absurd to him, and when he calls her by her full name she flinches. He's really angry. She argues that she's already an official martial artist, that she's mastered Thunderblade's first 3 levels through the half-price first purchase discount at 10 million China yuan, that once she crosses into mid-level she'll be stronger than me. The mention of Thunderblade, Thunder God's secret manual, infamous for breaking geniuses, makes Seongjun nearly shout. 5 million for the first level alone is a fortune, and she's burned half her startup capital on 3 levels of something she might not even be able to learn. She insists the dojo instructor vouched for her saber talent and told her to use the first-time discount while she could, and demands to join the wilderness trip for the combat practice she'll need. She clatters up the stairs before he can respond. He stands there, then picks up his phone and pushes the trip back without setting a new date. I know nothing of that at the time. Mid-October finds me still on schedule. Songwei, during that stretch, finally masters 5 hearts, and does indeed gain 1,000 kilos on her first absorption, promoting straight to mid-level warrior and joining the team to the quiet delight of its several younger male members. Before joining, she makes one condition, Seongjun unknown, that she not be on the same team as me. The rest of the team, comparing the Thunderblade cultivating beauty with the C-grade cultivating fool, who can't even win against a low beast soldier, unanimously agree to kick me out. Which is how 2 black uniformed advanced warriors end up at my gate, Yangbaum and Mangmok. I greet them by name through the memories, inviting them in. Yangbaum stays at the gate and says, stiffly and staring at me to apply pressure, that they hope I'll withdraw from the wilderness team. Sure, I tell him. Have you told the captain? And agree so readily that his stance drops. He relaxes, smiles, tells me to cultivate a while longer. Rejoin at Advanced Warrior, no one will object. I nod. I understand. The truth is I have no intention of ever going back. My secret is too dangerous for teammates. As they walk back up the path, Yongbale mutters to Mangmok that I agreed too easily, that there's something mysterious he can't grasp, that maybe they should investigate me. Mangmok snaps at him to drop it. They were only asked by Miss Seongwei to remove me. The goal is done. Don't invent new problems. The breeze carries their conversation straight to me in the courtyard because Spiritual Windsword has been sharpening my perception for days. So it's Seongwei. Fine. An excuse saved me the trouble of explaining to Seongjun. I keep drilling. On October 16, the hibernation method crosses beginner and I unlock its 2nd stage. On October 21, the tendons transforming and marrow washing scripture reaches perfection. In the washroom of Villa 136, the bathwater has gone cold and black around me. My eyes snap open. I hoist myself out, and as I twist my body, every joint cracks like my bones have at last unfolded. 30 days exactly. I rinse off, towel down, open the panel, strength 4,183.65. Advanced Warrior, Brain domain breath 19. Hibernation method at proficient 11-3. Tendons transforming and marrow washing scripture complete. Overall aptitude plus 30%. Genetic level plus 10%. Brain domain breath plus 4. Spiritual windsword 95.43 overall. Force level 1.3. My eyes go wide. Brain domain 19, not 18. And I remember my strength was only in the 3,800s yesterday. How did it jump to 4,183? The genetic level line. I asked the panel to explain, and it does. The secret technique's baseline completion gives plus 10% aptitude and plus 1 brain domain breath. But because I hit perfect transformation by compressing the cultivation into 30 days, a hidden bodily potential was activated. A subtle genetic leap of plus 10% and an extra plus 1 brain domain. Life genetic level ticks up to 1.1 on the panel. Even powerhouses who move weather across the universe struggle to raise this, and the benefit is comprehensive. Permanent 1.1x strength, faster absorption of cosmic energy, better comprehension, and in the far future, better law comprehension. One more day of slack and I'd have missed it. The hibernation method's upgrade to second stage deep sleep, faster absorption, is what pushed my daily tendons transforming gains past 10%, and squeaked the completion in under 30 days. I stare at the life genetic level 1.1 line until the joy settles. Since aptitude improvement has plateaued for now, it's time for slaughter points. I go to the underground storage and open the safe. Triple lock, key, 3-segment password, fingerprint, a 6 series alloy vault nothing under God of War could breach. Inside, a flowing light A6 battle sword and a D7 series combat suit with only the vest and trousers intact. The boots, arm guards, and the rest long lost. My father Jingi left these to me. When the original was 13, Jingi covered the team's retreat against a small beast horde and died alone. When Songjun came back at great risk, he could only find the shattered body. The sword and suit came back to me and have sat in this safe since, because the original couldn't bear the sight of them. The predecessor was sentimental. I'm not. I refuse to let treasures gather dust, and I'll use them when the use is needed. I buy the rest through Limit Home, tactical watch, backpack, combat boots, arm guards, jerky, and a lot of water. Food is easy to hunt in the wilderness. Water isn't. Payment drops my balance to 4 digits. Expedited delivery arrives in an hour. I dress, sling the pack, and leave Jinghu community. Wilderness area, I'm coming. A train pulls into a military base several hundred kilometers north of Jiangnan, and I get off with 100-odd other fully armed martial artists, already splitting into preformed squads. I have no team and no intention of forming one. I don't even rest at the base, just identify the direction of the wilderness and walk out. A young man in crisp military uniform jogs up with a professional enthusiast's smile, offers to broker a temporary squad for a 5% fee with a triple safety factor. An intermediary. I shake my head politely. His pupils tighten when they pass over my combat suit, and his tone changes completely. He is a service staff of the HR Alliance, Manager Ju, and welcomes me to sell any gains through him at a satisfactory price. He hands me his card. I pocket it, nod, and walk on. Behind me, he mutters, wondering whether someone wearing a 7 Series combat suit is a god of war or a warlord too young to be either, and decides that whichever it is, trust the intuition and don't offend. It's dusk by the time the landscape grows desolate and the first silhouettes appear on the horizon. The first monster I encounter is, fittingly, an Iron-Fur Boar. I smile. What a coincidence. First beast out the gate is you, and tonight we're having pork. I draw the flowing light blade and beckon. The boar charges. As an H-grade monster, it has no intelligence. In its former life, this thing nearly killed the predecessor. In my eyes, it is clumsy and slow. I shift my feet just before impact, let it pass, and thrust through its skull in the same motion. Slaughter point +1. The corpse slides past me on its own momentum and collapses a dozen meters on. So that's the Iron-Fur Boar I've been thinking about all this time. Much weaker than memory painted it. The obsession in my chest simply disappears. I keep walking deeper. Night falls, ambush predators come out, and I cut down a shadow cat mid-pounce and keep moving. More monsters along the way, more kills. None a match. By midnight, I'm standing outside a ruined county town with figures emerging from the ruins. About 18 tiger mastiff dogs, the spotted fur, streamlined bodies, powerful limbs, unmistakable. Elementary beast soldiers with 3 larger leaders at intermediate level. They circle me without charging, unsettled by the monster blood I carry from the night's kills. I pull up the panel. Spiritual windsword. Swordplay 99.99. Guiding 99.99. Footwork 91.37. The 3 parts are one body, and the footwork's lag is holding the other 2 stuck at the bottleneck. I have 87 slaughter points. If I didn't feel the secret of spiritual windsword technique hovering just out of reach, I'd optimize it already. Ever since guiding hit 99.99, I've had a premonition that passing into proficient is where the technique actually starts. A premonition that's sharpened when swordplay maxed. Only footwork stands in the way, and before me are 18 perfect sparring partners for exactly that. I don't wait for the pack to finish sizing me up. I stamp my feet and shoot straight at one of the 3 leaders. Bigger, spotted, intermediate, and my sword takes a chunk out of its front paw before it can react. blood sheeting down as it roars and the rest of the dogs pour in around me. With this many enemies, I dare not let them close the ring. I slide sideways at a silly angle, take a pounce at my hip, and my wrist flicks the sword out through her throat in the same motion. A second flick of the body brings a backhand sweep through 3 more pouncing bodies, a crescent of blood painted into the night, and for a handful of seconds I weave through them like smoke, each thrust exact and fatal. 5 or 6 down, the 3 leaders stop waiting. They roar and enter the fight together, and the pack tightens around me in drilled formation. The leaders are larger and harder. My sword jars when it meets their claws, and in the reshuffle several swipes get past me. The 7 series suit saves me, but I know any uncovered part of my body dies in one hit. Rather than panic, I breathe out, concentrate, and let my perception spread. The sense of air displacement around me sharpens until I feel every pounce before it starts, my body dodging as if I've already watched it happen. Swordplay and footwork stitching together into something effortless. On the panel I can't look at, the footwork bars climbing like water. More than half the pack falls and the survivor's fear breaks through. The 3 leaders growl consensus, 3 mournful roars, and the rest tuck tails and run. But I felt something almost grasped, and I'm not letting them leave. I chase, cutting them down from behind, forcing the leaders to turn. My slaughter finally enrages the remaining dogs past fear. They whirl as one tide and throw themselves at me with madness in their eyes. I walk into the middle of them. This is exactly the pressure I wanted. Under it I catch the inspiration. My footwork stops being 3 discrete things and becomes one rhythm I am inside of, and the breeze around me stops being weather and becomes a thing I can lean against. Wind. The secret of spiritual windsword technique is wind, which means intent. Earth's martial levels go basic, subtlety, perfection, intent. The predecessor and everyone who ever bought the manual drilled it at basic, but the actual technique only begins at intent. Hong saw that when he rated it C, the same way he wrote the note about its unrealized A. I let the wind take me. My footwork speed jumps something like 50%. A tiger mastiff dog's throat opens before I've even registered drawing. Sword draw up 70%. I slaughter the rest without effort, and when the 3 leaders make one suicidal final charge together, I drift past the side of them at a speed their eyes can't track, and all 3 hit the ground with a bloody hole through their skulls. The flowing light blade is clean. The panel reads Spiritual Windsword Technique, A-Class, Proficient 5.98%, with the 3 sub-percentages resetting from the old scale. Intent Mastery. The next step is to optimize. Spiritual Wind in its new form is terrifying but still brutal to practice, and worse, it lacks any real force exertion technique. My multiplier is still only 1.3. I know now that the core is wind intent, so I only need to keep that core and let the system rework the rest. Optimize Spiritual Windsword Technique Direction, centered on intent, enhance the secret technique's power, improve force exertion, discard universality. Estimated cost 16 slaughter points, a doubling each tier, as I'd guessed. My 3-leader kills pushed me to 125 points, more than enough. I confirm. 15-hour timer. I pick up the sword and head into the county town to grind while the countdown runs. Night after night through County 0247. Into derelict buildings to sleep and drink cosmic energy. Out again at first light for more kills. At dawn, the panel shows Hibernation Method at Proficient 25.67, Hurricane Swordplay at Proficient 4.65, Slaughter Points 583, half an hour of optimization remaining. I've taken over 100 monsters tonight, and the town just isn't big enough to pull more in. I set a bonfire in the deserted apartment, skewer monster meat I'd picked up, and eat as the timer ends. Secret Technique Spiritual Windsword Technique has been optimized to unnamed. No name this time. The system picks names from my memories, and this time there's nothing in my prior life's library that matches the thing it's built, because it's been rewritten entirely on Swallowed Star rules. Ultimate rating. 6 effects. Extra gains to movement speed, sword draw speed, and neural reaction. Premature wind intent mastery that accelerates any sub-intent sword. Force exertion ceiling raised to 5. Help comprehending unity of heaven and man. And at perfection, aid in comprehending domain and a slight affinity for wind law. I read the contents for a full half hour, then lean against the wall, eyes closed to digest. A long while later, I understand. The Chen family bloodline really does carry something, some special gene fragment that aligns it with wind law. That explains why Hyundo alone could push a C-grade manual to A during the Great Nirvana. That explains why my father Jingi could contend with high beast general monsters as an initial beast general. That explains why nobody outside the family could ever comprehend spiritual windsword technique, whatever they paid. Hong probably saw the same thing when he rated the manual C. The ceiling was family limited. The last 2 effects on this new technique are the obvious proof. A C-grade manual perfectly fitted to my body, plus a Chen family affinity for wind law, has become something that helps comprehend domain and law. I name it Hurricane Swordplay, because speed is its first and most visible effect. At perfection, my sword draw and movement speeds double again on top of the 70 and 50% bonuses Spiritual Wind already gave me, and my neural reaction speed climbs 2 tiers. On the panel, the word proficient is automatically present because wind intent was mastered. I'm just coming back to the technique at beginner otherwise. I erase the proficient tag and start over. Then I pack up, extinguish the fire, and walk out to cultivate properly. The next days are slaughter, indiscriminate, across County 0247. Lone monsters, packs, anything I can reach. When I'm hungry, I eat monster meat. When I'm tired, I find a corner to deep sleep, which is simultaneously rest and cosmic energy absorption. 5 days and nights later, I've swept through half the city and put over 2,000 monsters in the ground. Not because that's the limit. The blood soaked into my clothes now broadcasts danger across kilometers, and the intelligent monsters simply flee. What remains are either dull-nosed or confident, and none of them leave. County 0247 isn't big enough to hold Beast General level monsters in any serious numbers. The ceiling here is Beast Soldier. On the morning after the 5th night, I wake from deep sleep and check the panel. Strength 4712.77, speed 102 meters per second. Hibernation method proficient 25.67, hurricane swordplay proficient 4.65, skill subtlety, conception, force exertion. 2. Slaughter points 8004. The breakthrough into proficient happened in last night's final pack fight. A casual test swing tells me sword speed has jumped another 30%, and movement should match. Stacked on the force exertion multiplier, theoretical peak should hit 198 m per s, realistic 180. For an advanced warrior whose baseline is 60, that's obscene. It already beats a middle-level war general's clean speed. Force exertion plus intent, a qualitative change that makes me invincible among peers. But the force exertion stacks hidden strength. Thunderblade layers 0.7x at each tier. Hurricane swordplay doesn't stack that way at all. Its force technique is deeper bodily control, activating muscle groups the body ordinarily can't reach, so each sword stroke recruits more fibers than it should. Completely different principle. One piles up strength, the other unlocks what's already there. And I remember that when Thunder God first saw the Yunmo Planet martial artist manual, he lamented that he was wrong. Maybe the stacking path is the wrong path. Maybe true force exertion is body control. The original author wrote about this explicitly in his later novel, Cosmic Professional Player, where cosmic martial artists control power by consciousness linking to their cells. The same core under different worlds. So Hurricane Swordplay is on the right track. The 5 times cap just reflects how little data on this approach I fed the system. More data, more ceiling. And where better to get that data than the know? 9 Ancient Civilization Relic, whose martial reward will surely include detailed force exertion teachings. The relic jumps up my priority list even if I can't enter it until War God level. For now, 5 times is more than enough to run rampant below Planetary. Before I leave the county, I have one debt to settle. I walk to the southeast, to a long-abandoned manor ranch I explored a few days ago and had to flee from. The only setback I've had here, a pack of over 100 lion mastiff dogs holds the place, and the leader is intermediate beast general, minimum 16,000 kilograms, and being a power type, probably 20,000. My own 4,700 times 2 makes 9,400, barely half. Last time I only escaped because the lion mastiff lacks speed. This time is different. I stand on a rise looking down at the ranch. An intermediate beast general lion mastiff would outmass me 4 times even now, and only my family heirloom A6 blade has any hope of breaking its hide. But with Hurricane Swordplay proficient, my max speed's gone from 150 to 180, while the lion mastiff leader runs at 120. The gap is decisive. The core of Hurricane Swordplay is one word: fast. And combined with wind intense sword draw, it kills across rank. Its swordplay folds in spiritual wind's agility, making my movement technique especially good at dodging. Group fights are my element. Under my current parameters, I could annihilate a pack led by a beginner beast general. The only beast general in this entire city is the lion mastiff leader, and its single fatal weakness is speed. My strengths into its weakness. Plus, the beast soldier tier monsters I've been grinding aren't pushing Hurricane Swordplay hard enough. On day 1, I gained 30% proficiency, and after 5 days of fighting, I've only crawled into proficient. Combat techniques need fierce combat to grow. This pack is Hurricane Swordplay's final tuition here. I charge straight in. The first pounce of the pack is met with a sword draw that takes 5 or 6 dogs down in seconds before they even form up. The leader roars from the back. It recognizes me, recognizes the human who trespassed days ago and massacred and escaped untouched. It has learned. This time it stays back and orders the pack to hem me in and exhaust me, planning to finish me when my movement's slow. It doesn't know my hibernation method has reached the 2nd stage, and in Star River Emperor's framework that reads as whole body vitality, not just muscle but organ, bone, blood, brain, every system evolved in one pass. In terms of stamina, I already outstretch an advanced warrior and can trade with a war general. To exhaust me, the leader would need triple the dogs he has. I weave through the pack like a ghost, killing cleanly, and the leader sits and watches, waiting for the dent in my pace that never comes. When 70% of his subordinates are on the ground, he finally breaks and charges me himself, and I turn and sprint through the ruins of the city. He chases. My speed slows deliberately, just enough to keep him in pursuit, and he catches the scent of victory. All that sacrifice was setting me up for exhaustion, and now the final stage pays off. One man and one beast carve from the southeast of the county to the northwest, almost the whole length of the town, until I stop in the old ruins where I met the first pack of tiger mastiff dogs. The leader's burial ground, chosen in advance. I leap to the top of a collapsed wall and wait. He arrives in a cloud of dust, charges straight through the ruins like a tank, and I jump aside and aside again, and he rumbles past each time, unable to turn in the tangled rubble. At full speed, lion mastiffs are only 30 meters per second behind a human martial artist of their tier, but they have to build that up over distance, and their instantaneous burst is much worse. I chose this maze because his mass works against him here. Every leap for me, every stagger for him. He slows, he paces in confusion, and I see his not very clever brain working through what I'm doing, and I see the realization land. This human intends to kill me. Disbelief, then unease. He turns to leave. Too late. Face the storm. I hold back a trick I've been suppressing the whole night, the 2x force exertion, and I drop off the wall at the edge of his range, and the flowing light blade goes through his back behind the neck before he turns completely. 2x burst sunk into the strike. I kick off him and clear the range in a couple of leaps, sword back in hand. He roars in furious pain, blood red-eyed, and charges me blind, and I run him back through the dog walk pattern, opening holes in his hide every time he overcommits, until blood loss starts slowing him for real. When his movements are slow enough to look like slow motion, I leap from a wall, kick off into the air, drive the blade two-handed into his skull, and pull out the other side of his head. Kill points plus 42. The body slides down into the dust. I check he's actually dead, then lean against his side and fall into deep sleep, because I'm shaky after a night fighting a beast horde, running a city, and killing an intermediate beast general. An hour later I wake up fully recovered, cut out the fangs, the most valuable part, and go back to the manor to clean up the rest of the pack. They didn't even leave. They get the same fate. I sweep the grounds for anything else worth having, because a thief doesn't leave empty-handed. I follow the path the leader came from, into a dense forest, and something lashes at me from behind. Whip fast. My sharpening senses catch it, and I dodge. I spin, expecting an ambushing martial artist with a whip, and what I see is a willow tree. 20 meters tall, trunk close to a meter thick, thousands of slender branches hanging from the crown and drifting in air that isn't moving. Willow demon, no, I know exactly what this is. Grass and wood spirit. Millennial Willow Heartwood. Luo Feng ate one of these in the novel and jumped from initial god of war to intermediate war god, releasing the dark golden sphere in his head and breaking into peak war god as a mental power master. A Millennial Willow's essence improves cell activity and physical fitness outright. I check limit home on my wrist. The forum, now that the Earth Trio runs things, has public entries on these treasures, and the pictures confirm it, but the size is off. A genuine Millennial Willow is over 30 meters with a 1 meter trunk. This one's a little under 20 with 80 centimeter trunk. 5 to 800 years, not 1,000. Below millennial specimens are noted as limited benefit for war gods, more suited to war generals, which is still exactly my tier. The forum adds that a willow old enough to bear heartwood can have attack power reaching war god. This one's branches are closer to initial war general each, but there are over 1,000 branches and any creature that steps close gets hit by 1,000 of them at once. Which is why the lion mastiff leader kept his territory here and never ate. Mouthful of meat he couldn't chew. Good. I'll eat it instead. The tree can't move. Its branches are dangerous, its trunk isn't. I dart inside the range, cut 4 or 5 branches in a pass, retreat before the mass of the rest reaches me. The tree waves in futile fury. I do it again, and again. An hour and a half later, the crown is bare. I pivot to the trunk with my A6 blade and 2x force, chip by chip, and after 2 hours, the whole trunk topples in a storm of splinters. A captivating green catches my eye in the wreckage. An egg-sized crystal, liquid rippling inside, cool through my palm. The essence of the heartwood. I carry it to an abandoned villa basement and pull out my A6 dagger, 300,000 for a blade specifically for monster material, and stab the shell twice before the third strike cracks it. 20 or 30 milliliters of green liquid. I drink it in one. Cool, massaging, soul-trembling comfort rolls through me, and inside my body the essence melts into every organ and cell, a sapling growing into a towering tree. Transformation, there's no better word. Cells leap, genes refine, bones and muscles reorganize. On the panel the strength column climbs and climbs. 4,712 to 5,863 to 7,545 to 9,680. The rate slowing, finally settling at 14,728.63 kilograms. In 2 hours, I've gone from initial advanced warrior to peak initial war general, only 1,300 short of middle level. Under the moonlight, I stare at the number. Even a millennial willow under its rated age does this. Resources in the swallowed star world are obscene. No wonder the virtual universe company tells its geniuses not to waste time on cosmic energy grinding, and to pour time instead into law comprehension and secret techniques. Resources handle strength. The path of a genius is resources for realm. then the freed time into techniques. I get a momentary stab of envy for Luo Feng, lying back in the core layer of the virtual universe company raising his stats on autopilot. Then I catch the envy happening, and I catch the instability in my mind. The meditation method is a will cultivation art in Star River Emperor. I only just reached the tier where I should be unshakable, and the first dose of sweet resources already pulled me off center. The mind is a mirror, it needs polishing. I let it settle. I think through the plan. Resources that raise strength without eating potential I should take whenever available. Resources that cost potential, like Earth's genetic potions, I never touch, no matter what they offer. The next goal is the elite training camp slot, and a training contract with the Dojo of Limits, Luo Feng's own route. Back then a spot cost initial war general, because 20 years ago the elite camp was still called the God of War Reserve Camp. Now the camp trains planetary level reserves and the old God of War title has been handed down to the basic training camp. Even Luo Feng back then had to clear a B-level test to get in. I might too. What I want out of that contract is dragon blood, resource grade strength without potential cost. Priced around 80 billion even at the half price internal rate. Buyable only with qualification. The simplest road to it is the camp. Initial war general isn't stable. I'm 1,300 short of middle level anyway. I decide, 1 month maximum effort reach middle level, polish hurricane swordplay, raise the force exertion multiplier, still only 2x, lower than Luo Feng's at the same point, but I've only cultivated a month and a bit while he had 6. Then back to Jinling. I refill water at a spring, wash off the transformation, and walk deeper into the wilderness. 1 month disappears. Deep in the wild. In a prefecture-level city 067, I spend my final afternoon on an initial Lord-level fire scale 3 halberd pig. 10 meters tall, red-scaled, 3 curved horns like a trident above its head, supersonic in a charge, and my flowing light blade only barely bothers its armor. My 1.8 meters is a blade of grass next to it. I weave around it by margins of centimeters because a single trident tipped through my 7 series vest would finish me. Finally, I find my opening, explode past 900 meters per second at one burst, leap onto the head and drive the blade at 3.2x force straight into an eye socket. Its 4 hooves stomp chaos as it dies. I let go of the sword, pull clear of the thrashing, and the body crashes over. I sigh when I retrieve the blade. The edge is so chipped it's basically done. A 6 is not enough against a Lord-level fire scale. But to take 1 as a middle-level war general is a perfect closer for this month. I open the panel. Strength 17,423 kilograms. Middle-level war general. Life gene 1.1. Brain width 19. Neural reaction excellent junior god of war. Speed 240 m/s. Theoretical limit 979. Hibernation method major achievement 6.58, which unlocked the 3rd stage, sleep while moving, meaning I can deep sleep my recovery while continuing to drill swordplay, and my daily strength gain jumped from around 80 kilograms to 120 plus overnight. That alone is 3,000 kilograms in a month. Hurricane Swordplay Major Achievement 10.46, Speed Amplification 70, Neural Reaction +1 rank, Concept Level, Force Exertion 3.2, Slaughter Points 40,896 after thousands of Beast Soldier kills, 337 Warlord level kills, and 1 Lord. Ultimate isn't a generous rating. Compared to Thunderblade and World Ending, Hurricane's Force Exertion ceiling is mediocre. What it has, and has uniquely, is speed. Middle-level War General base speed is 160. With Wind Intent I hit 240. With Major Achievement the movement draw bonus is 70%, so the passive ceiling is 408. With 3.2x force, limit climbs to 979 theoretical. Realistic is over 900. A high-level War God's base is 600. Average force exertion there is 3x for 1,300 m/s realistic. Junior and Intermediate War Gods average only 2x force, so at Intermediate War God's base of 460, the 2x limit is 690, far below me. Ultimate is earned. This speed is why a middle-level War General can kill a Junior Lord, but I can feel the next plateau. Once both techniques hit perfection, my daily game will lock and stop compounding. I need to optimize new manuals before that happens. I'm confident I can reach Planetary on hard cultivation alone, but from 22,000 kilograms now to Apprentice Peak's 512,000 at 120 kilograms per day is 11 years. Terrifying because the Swallowed Star Realm ladder is exponential. Luo Feng beat Apprentice in a blink on Dragon Blood, Grass and Wood Spirits, and his Psyker advantage. My daily cultivation beats his of the same period, but that doesn't help because he didn't win by daily cultivation. I need Dragon Blood, and I need more manuals to feed the optimization system. Hurricane Swordplay is very strong, but only speed. A 5x force cap is just mid-tier next to the other ultimates. I need to buy widely, feed data, and optimize something deeper. 2 hours cutting the fire scale's valuable materials, red scales and trident horn, and I'm packing a bag larger than myself and walking 3 days back out. At the North Military Region Station Manager Ju is waiting at the gate, dressed well, turning away passing squads all morning with the same apology. Contact Manager Lee, I have an important client today. The passing squads think he's picked a prize. He's not sure. His certainty has been bleeding out over the hours because he only ever met his big client for 30 seconds a month ago and inferred strength from equipment. As noon crawls closer, he's rehearsing the damage control speech for his manager relationships if he's wrong. When he finally sees me, he lights up and trots over, apologizes for nothing in a professional smile, calls me Mr. Chen, welcomes me back from the wilderness. I apologize for the delay. Hit a tiger mastiff pack on the way in. Nothing bad, just slow. He notices the materials hanging off my pack. Beast General parts, unmistakable. And the apprehension drops off him. His mental note that I'm a real powerhouse reaffirmed. He hands me a VIP card to a 2-story detached villa at the station. Tells me to rest an hour while he readies appraisal gear. I take the hour. A month in the wilderness leaves you filthy. And he's thoughtful enough to have hung a complete set of clean clothes by the bathroom. When I call him over, he arrives in a minute. He lives next door. I lay out the materials in the villa living room. He scans them, and the longer he scans, the more composed his expression tries to be. Over 100 pieces, not one beast soldier, not even initial beast general, all intermediate beast general and high beast general. He does the arithmetic in his head. How many monsters did this young man kill alone, in a month, to produce only beast general parts, and discards the idea that I was fighting 24 hours a day as absurd, though he almost believes it. When he tallies, he tells me 178 materials, 130 intermediate beast general parts, and 48 high, 3.093 billion, and 4.376 billion, rounded up to 7.5 billion total. A bit low, I say. Intermediate parts by the old figures I saw were at least 10 million each, and some of his quotes are below. He doesn't panic. His data is current, minus 2 decades old. With cross-planet trade now routine, HR Alliance isn't acquiring monster material to forge equipment anymore. They're exporting it to other worlds as an Earth specialty, which means rarity determines price rather than quality. Common monsters, even at good quality, trade 30 to 50% off old rates. Beast Soldier drops by 70 plus. Lord barely moves. King level has actually climbed. He shares the HR Alliance's internal acquisition website for me to compare, and it confirms him. He's actually being generous. I accept the 7.5 billion. Before transfer, I point at the last set of materials and tell him to price those separately. Scales and the single bighorn from the fire scale. His scanner result makes him gasp. Lord level. His eyes flick to me and back, and I can watch him resort everything he's thought about me today. Then he prices it. Fire scale is the number 1 boar type, upper middle among initial Lord level market values, 2.4 to 2.8 billion, and he offers the top of the range. 2.8, total 10.3 billion. I sent him my bank card over the watch, and it's transferred in seconds. HR Alliance staff file in to move the crates. I still have 2 pieces of monster material on the floor. The 2 cheapest middle-level war general pieces from the lot, meant to prove my tier. I picked them up from my backpack. He can't help himself and asks which lord I'm saving those for. Lord? Haha, no. Just middle-level war general materials. For my dojo certification. I see his face try not to change. I leave his middle-level war general passes through his head. I take the 3-hour train to Jinling, cab straight to Jinghu Community. Not to my villa, but to the 9-story dojo of Limits branch at the community center. A tower I've never once entered despite living here. Because ever since the prospective warrior assessment was cancelled, the whole purple dew procedure is handled locally at the high school academy. A young receptionist greets me. I'm here to sell 2 monster materials and request a combat achievement assessment. She walks me into the elevator and up to the 6th floor, knocks at an office and announces me as Xiaowei to the sister Yu inside. The diminutive Xiaowei hits me sideways, same as the one still burning quietly in my memory, but she doesn't notice. Sister Yu is at a computer. I put the 2 pieces on the desk. She looks up, says, huh, glances at them again. Beast General materials? I nod, for a middle-level war general assessment, and read her my martial artist ID. She pulls up my registration, and I watch her stop. According to the record, I only became a warrior at the start of June this year. It's the end of November. Half a year. Beginner warrior to middle-level war general. Her face asks the impossible question. She says only, are you sure? I give the short answer and ask her to certify and buy the materials. That's the point. A 19-year-old middle-level war general, appearing in Jinling's branch with Beast General trophies, will be reported upwards. She pulls out instruments, tests the materials, enters my data. 2 materials, 6.6 million yuan plus 3,400 contribution points. The dojo pays 2/3 of market, the rest is points. My balance updates to 10,306,605,785. I ask whether I can train on the 2nd floor. She says the 2nd through 4th are public training grounds for all martial artists. All right, I say, I'll go to the 2nd. As deliberately loud as possible. I walk out. As soon as the door closes, she picks up the phone and dials. The 2nd floor is a vast public cultivation hall with every piece of testing equipment imaginable. I don't train. I sit, pull out my watch, and use Limit Home's C-Rank manual mall as a data feed for the optimization system. I read through 9.5 an hour, buying the next each time I finish. I don't need to understand or even remember them. The system meets the text. The elevator dings and two people step out, but they aren't the dojo master. They're Sang-wei and Yang Beom. She shouts my name in surprise. I answer calmly that I'm waiting for someone. Yang Beom notices my empty backpack on the floor and my watch, and guesses I've been out in the wilderness. Sang-wei brightens and asks how the haul was. She assumes I couldn't find a team and came back to the dojo to interview for one. I give an indifferent all right and keep reading, which makes Yang Beom, who secretly regards me as a rival, push her to go start training. She says wait a moment. I'd never notice her if she didn't demand it. She tells me she's an intermediate warrior now and on her father's team, specifically so I'll understand why I was removed. I say moom. She needles me about still practicing a C-grade manual, saying I should switch to something real so I stop losing to Iron-Fur Boars, and boasts that the Thunderblade she now cultivates let her kill several beast soldiers in the wilderness this month. I look up at that. Thunderblade, Thunder God's Manual. Both Thunderblade and World Ending are in my feed plan for Hurricane Swordplay's next optimization. I can only afford a few levels each, for data. I ask her which tier of Thunderblade's hidden force she's reached. She can't answer, because it's none. She wouldn't be here drilling with a sparring partner if it were. The embarrassment boils straight into anger. Before she can launch, someone calls my name across the hall, the real arrival. A buzz-cut, square-faced, military-straight middle-aged man, Wang Tai, master of Jinling branch, speeding toward me with no dojo master dignity, because what Sister Yu reported has him openly excited. Sang-wei hisses chief instructor. Yang Beom stares at the word. Wang Tai reaches me, asks whether my assessed strength is real. Of course. I'd point at the punch strength testing machine. We can do it right now. He nods as if afraid I'll change my mind. I breathe once at the machine, back arching, and put a clean punch into the target. The screen climbs and settles at 17,792 kilograms. Middle-level war general. Wang Tai beams. Sang-wei and Yang Beom stand staring, because if this is real, her entire course of action with me reads as a clown's routine. She whirls on Yang Beom and asks if he didn't tell her I couldn't even beat an Iron-Fur Boar, her tone now accusation. He stammers, no longer even sure his memory matches the person who just hit that number. She snorts and walks out. He follows, silent and lost. No one notices them leave. Wang Tai asks for speed and neural tests next. Results: 163 m per s speed. Neural reaction full marks for middle-level war general. Excellent for high-level warrior. Not showing off past the point that justifies his report. He glows. He'll report to Jiangnan Main Hall. I'll probably need to go with him to demonstrate. I ask directly, will the elite training camp slot come with this? He can't promise. 19-year-old middle-level war generals are rare, not unheard of, and HQ also weighs combat experience and secret technique cultivation, and my registered C grade doesn't flatter me there. I add, when you report, add that my force exertion level is greater than 2x. His eyes widen. Is that real? I walk back to the punch target, take a breath, and put 2x into the next punch. 35,584 kilograms. He runs to read the screen and gasps. Wang Tai himself is a high-level war general with a mediocre 1.3 force multiplier. My peak is almost at his level. He pulls out his phone in front of me and types a message, and in under 30 seconds, Jiangnan headquarters calls him back. He confirms yes, saw it with my own eyes. I'll bring him. He hangs up radiant. Tomorrow morning he tells me, Jiangnan City, President Zhou will meet me personally. Perform well and the slot is secure. I nod. Early the next morning we take the first train to Jiangnan's urban core. At the main hall there are already many people waiting. Wang Tai rubs his eyes, jogs over with me in tow, and greets them. President Zhou, Supervisor Zhuge. President Zhou Zhangyang nods without speaking. Supervisor Zhuge Tao, who invested in Luo Feng once, smiles at me and tells me to wait together. A very important person is coming, and when that person arrives, perform well. Wang Tai leans in and fawns at Zhuge Tao that he wasn't briefed on this. Zhuge explains, the report went up last night. Wang Tai to Zhuge to Zhou to the inspector. And the inspector, a Wei inspector, decided to come down himself. Zhuge reminds Wang Tai sharply to show respect. Wei inspector. No one by that name rings a bell from the novel. Only Luo Feng held the inspector role there. Inspectors are Dojo of Limits regional warlords with absolute authority, able to dismiss even supervisors. 20 years ago, they required peak god of war. Now they require above planetary, since even President Zhou is planetary. But Jiangnan Bay City is Luo Feng's hometown. No inspector dares throw weight around here, so I'm not worried. Half an hour later, a dark blue saucer fighter pops into the sky and descends over the crowd. The hatch opens and a figure floats down. Young-looking late 20s or early 30s, sportswear almost shy smile. If he hadn't stepped out of a smart fighter, I'd have read him as a fresh college graduate. No presence of someone in high office. He waves with both hands and complains, almost blushing, that he'd said on the phone no one needed to come greet him. President Zhou protests that it would be rude not to, and he flaps that off like it embarrasses him. Then his eye finds me and lights up. He walks up and looks me over and says, "You must be Jinyan, the genius President Zhou recommended." Your temperament's like Ah Feng's. No, Ah Feng's is wilder. Yours is calm. Odd though, he can feel it anyway. Ah Feng, Luo Feng, Wei for surname, the name surfaces from the novel. Wei Wen. I ask directly, Inspector, are you Wei Wen? He blinks and laughs. You know me? Luo Feng's best friend. Reached undying by lying down. Straight-hearted, won't take offense. I explain I heard Luo Feng had a friend named Wei Wen, and connected the surname with the Ah Feng he just said. He scratches his head and drops it. He says he heard about me yesterday from Joe, decided to come personally, and tells me directly that if the test goes well, he'll apply for my training camp slot himself. I sense he wants something from me, but it concerns the slot, so I'd better not be careless. And in the original novel, he's a good man. I believe him. We go in. With Wei Wen watching, I decide to expose more than I would have. 2 strength tests and 2 speed tests. First punch, clean. 17,910 kilograms. Second punch, 3x force, 53,730 kilograms. Wang Tai yelps that I was hiding yesterday. Wei Wen nods to himself. First speed test, 163 m/s. I indicate a second run, and the others spark with curiosity. Force exertion perfectly applied to movement technique. President Joe muses aloud. The second run produces a sonic boom and the screen reads 366 m/s. Zhuge Tao calculates aloud that I've perfectly applied 3x force to movement technique, something even many gods of war haven't mastered. Wei Wen's eyes approve, but I can see his brow almost furrow. Not quite satisfied. Neural reaction comes back full marks at middle-level war general. Excellent at high-level warrior. Everyone around me is smiling, but his smile isn't a real yes. So I offer a third test I haven't taken yet. He's curious, and I ask to run speed again. I bring up wind intent. The result is 550 m/s. The room falls silent. Someone in the crowd murmurs intent, and not a shallow brush at it either. He claps, wide-smiled, satisfied. With that depth of intent, I am a true genius, and he'll submit this directly to global headquarters himself, rather than let Jiangnan stack me in the queue. With his recommendation, the camp slot is secure. Then, come back to Yangzhou with me. Stay at my place. I'll tell you the moment headquarters replies. I didn't expect the invite, and now I'm almost certain he wants a favor. A favor he's willing to announce in a public hall, so not dangerous. I nod. His shoulders relax. We walk out, the smart fighter glides down. We board, and the two of us rise into the sky and turn for Yangzhou. The elevator drops me down to the second floor, a public cultivation space that spans the entire level, vast and crammed with testing and training equipment. And I drift over to a quiet corner and sit, because I am not here to cultivate, I am here to wait. Manager Yu's phone call reached the chief instructor the moment I left the 6th floor, and my best guess is that Wang Tai is already on his way. To pass the time, I open my communication watch, log into the Limit Home Mall, and purchase a Class C Creaker manual. Then another, flipping through each one in a matter of minutes. I do not need to understand them or remember them, because the optimization system silently swallows every page as data for a future refinement. And the faster I burn through low-grade manuals, the more raw material the system has to work with. By the time I'm on my 9th manual, about half an hour has gone, and the elevator chimes.